Hello my scrappy friends, Melinda with you again today, and I have another share for Anna's craft cupboard using the Color Fresh collection. As you can see, I have started here with some fun layers. I've used my border punch with the notebook edge. I'm not real keen on the animal print, but I like the way that it looks tucked under. I'm still undecided if I'm going to go mixed media-y or not. This photo is of all of the WA Anna's design team, except for Richard. We can't forget Richard, he does a fantastic job. But this was at the Anna's Craft Cupboard Day Scrap last year, and I thought that the fun bright colours of this collection would work really well. I'm not sure how I'm going to finish this up, so I'll pop you on fast forward and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so you will see pretty quickly that I decide not to go with mixed media. I did want to add something soft behind my photo, and you can see I'm trying here with a couple of doilies, and I dismiss all of them. I've got the three sizes, I think 4, 5 and 6 inches. I dismiss all three sizes, but I do come back to them later. From there I kind of went, maybe it's this border around the photo, so I trimmed that down a bit more. To my eye, because I don't like that print, it's really obvious what kind of print it is. But I'm much happier with it there. It just looks like a black and white print around my photo. And then I decided that I was going to add in another layer behind the photo and the photo mat. I did toy with the idea of going with the other side of this paper and chose not to. So I'm just going to mount that on there, and then I'm going to cut this other paper to the right size, and you can see me, I'm just trying to work out exactly where I want to fit it onto this scrap, and then I realize that the other side is more plain, and so that's what I'm going to go with. Just going to stick that down and then get my paper trimmer out and trim that down. I'm just going to follow that line that's already cut there. It gives me a good size. Decided to add some foam, so I've got a layer of foam, I think behind the photo and then also behind this photo mat, but I wanted to separate, so there's lots of colour happening here, so I decided I wanted to separate it a little bit, and I guess this is a bit of mixed media. I've got my black ink and I have used my sponge dauber to go over the edges of the photo mat, then the bigger pink photo mat, and also down the two edges of the rainbow strip and down the two edges that I punched. I'm going to stick, I think I definitely did this the hard way. I don't know why I did it this way. Why didn't I stick down the center border in the center of the page? I don't know. But anyway, I've done this the hard way and I don't make you watch. But I do attach those two border strips to the pink and then attach the, not the pink, the rainbow, and then I attach the rainbow to the center. Like I said, I do come back to this doily. This is the 4-inch one. It's from my stash. And you can see I'm just tucking that into the layers there. Because of the foam, I can only tuck it in so far, so I chop a bit more off. I layer half at the top and half at the bottom. The bottom half is not particularly obvious, but that's okay. I wasn't going for, wow, look at this big doily I have on the page. I just wanted a softer layer. So I'm happy with how that's looking. I'm going to stick this down. Yes, that was the puffy sticker that I had stuck to my ATG gun, just to make it easy to not lose it. Does anyone else always lose their things that were right there on their desk? Or is it just me? Again, I'm not going to make you watch me do this, but I've stuck all that down, trimmed down the edge, taken off the branding strip, and I'm going to work on my title. Now, I was a bit rough when I took this out of the packaging and so it snapped. It's not a big deal though, because once it's all back together and glued down, you cannot tell. This is how my title's going to look. Again, I'm not going to make you watch me stick all that down. I went off camera and stuck all that down, and then did some machine stitching. I've gone through the thickers and then down both sides of those border strips just with some black thread in my machine, a straight stitch, and I got to playing with some ephemera. So you can see up the top I've got these 2 tabs, one in yellow, one in pink. I've distressed the edges of both with that black ink, and I'm going to pop up the pink one which has the date on it and stick that into my layers. Down the bottom I have stuck on an acetate word in that bright pink that says lovely, and I've also used my tiny attacher. Well, you don't see me do it because I have to pull up all my layers to get it to stick, but I use my tiny attacher to stick down those 2 arrows, and then my tape runner to stick down the 2 butterflies. So there's one next to the word family and one on the photo. I have a few random clear stickers stuck to my media mat there, and I was like, oh, that might work. So I used that one. Then I'm going to go back in and rough up all the edges. So I have gone around off camera and roughed up all the edges of all the other papers. So I just wanted to do those tabs as well. I'm coming in with some more of these puffy stickers, and I only use a couple of them, but I feel that it brings the gold a bit more around the page. So I've got one there, and I'm going to pop this one on the right hand side on the tab there. And I like how I've got the gold underneath and the gold above. I love this piece wonderful. I ummed and ahed about including it. I'm really glad I did. I like it's not super subtle and it's not really obvious, but I really like it. And you saw me just trim off the bottom of that. It hung down just a tiny bit too much so that the colours were overlapping onto the pink, and I didn't like that. So I just trimmed off the very bottom bit and slid that under my layer. And then I had these enamel shapes on my desk as well. So I'm just sticking those down. So these are glittery star ones. And I'm just building some little clusters right where those black butterflies are, and then I've got these little pink ones. So I the other day was cleaning my craft room and decided it was time to unpack some of my collection boxes and put them in with the rest of my stash because I've used them enough as a collection, and so the glitter girl was one of those. So I'm just adding in those couple of enamel shapes and calling it done. So this was a pretty easy page to put together. It's fairly clean for me. You don't see it here on the video, but after I turned the camera off I decided it needed some black splatters. So I've done my normal trick of mixing up some black gesso with some water, and I've sprinkled that at the top left and the bottom middle right, and I just like the extra that gives the page. Oh, and over where my labels are too. I did make sure I covered up my title, most of my title, and my photo, and that's my last share for this month. So thank you ever so much for stopping by. I hope that you have enjoyed, and I hope that I have inspired you to maybe use up some of this beautiful collection that you have perhaps been hoarding, because it is beautiful. Thank you ever so much for stopping by, and I will see you again soon with another share.